It is the year 5828 AL, and the war for the Middle Islands rages with a cold and merciless intensity between the Moon Elves of Alepion and the Sun Elves of Kaan Fulas. At the forefront of the Moon Elf war effort stands Elder Jayranda Skysinger, a name that has already grown into legend. Among his people, he is revered. Among his enemies, he is feared. Few now speak his full title. Across the battlefields of Athena Island, he is known simply as the Fierce. A warrior elder of unyielding will, Jayranda seeks nothing less than total moon ascendancy. Yet Athena remains contested, gripped tightly by the immortal Sun Elves, whose resistance has proven as relentless as the Fierce himself. Still, where the elder marches, victory often follows, and with him marches his son and heir, the crowned son of Alepion, Jayranda Lovilla Skysinger. Born into war and tempered by it, Jayranda carries within him the same fire that forged his father's name. He does not shrink from the weight of expectation. He embraces it, for he knows that to rule Alepion one day is not enough. He must deserve it. To be named a great servant is to be more than the country's ruler. It is to be a conqueror, a protector, a symbol of moon dominance. And so it is on a dim and clouded afternoon, beneath a sky that seems to hold its breath, that the crowned sun is given yet another opportunity to prove himself. But as Jayranda advances with confidence burning in his chest, unseen and patiently waiting, a trap has been neatly and sinisterly prepared for him. Hey guys, I am giving away the first 5 books of my fantasy short story series, The Sun, Moon, Sand, and Star. If you'd like to get 5 free fantasy books today, click the link below this video. Get my novel, Upon the Sands, Book 1 of A Symphony of Shadow and Darkness. And in the comment section, demand your 5 free books, and I will send them to you as soon as possible. Your support helps the channel, and your 5 free books let you get to know these characters at a much deeper level. Now let's get back to the lore. The death of the crowned son of Alepion, Jayranda Lovilla Skysinger, came at the Aurak Pass, at the Benfall gates of Rethok's tomb. He had been dispatched to scatter the guards stationed there. Yet upon arrival, what stood before him was not what it seemed. According to the testimony of the crowned son's surviving crescents, the tomb was guarded by sun elves, unadorned in the garb of battle, bearing neither the posture nor offering signs of preparation of warriors expecting conflict. It was a deception of the highest order. The ambush was orchestrated by the second highborn host and commanded by its leader, highborn Elwin, Evening himself, the heir to the Sun Chair. In later years, following the Sun and Moon alliance of the fourth moon, Elwin revealed the means by which the trap had been sprung. Sun Elf ingenuity had produced a prototype device known as the Athinsil Brace, a paired construct of magical design. Each brace bore an identical magical signature bound perfectly to its counterpart. Through this bond, the wearer of one could summon the other to their side, regardless of distance. Thus, the warriors stationed at the tomb were never intended to stand and fight. They were a lure. When Jayranda advanced, the trap was sprung. Light shone, bright like the beaming stars. Upon the rocky passes, we looked and found ourselves surrounded. The crowned son of Alepion drew his long blade and made his father's name his battle cry. Elwin would later admit that the choice of Rethok's tomb had been deliberate. Its long-standing reputation whispered of relics and treasures from the first moon, or the grey days, according to the Alok calendar. I had hoped the tomb would lure the elder of Alepion himself, Elwin confessed. Instead, I found his son, who, like all heirs to a throne, thought too much of himself. He sought to mirror his father's greatness, to make the moon triumph over the sun. The Moon Elf force was overwhelmed and broken beneath the sudden and blinding brightness of the might of the highborn host. Yet Jayranda was not slain. According to those crescents whom Elwin permitted to depart, the highborn instead chose to spare the crowned son's life, at least for a while. He was given water, provisions, and time to recover. It was then that Elwin declared his intent, not for slaughter, but for trial. He wished to face Jayranda in single combat. Should Jayranda prevail, he would be allowed to return to his father unscathed. Should he fall, his death would be his own, earned by blade rather than by ambush. Historians have long debated this decision. Many believe the notion did not originate with Elwin, but with his father, Asheral Evening, the father of the sun. Known as both a master tactician and a careful architect of legacy, Asheral was believed to seize every opportunity he could to elevate his son's renown. By this time, Elwin's reputation had already grown formidable, particularly after his victory over the ancient elder Ilantan Lumondare Rare Shade during the first moon, and so perhaps Asheral wished to enhance it. A duel with the crowned son of Alepion would only further that legend. Jayranda accepted the challenge without hesitation. For 2 days, the two warriors remained apart, preparing within the bounds of Elwin's encampment. On the appointed day, they met. The crowned son of Alepion fought with ferocity and skill befitting his name, yet he was defeated. He was slain. Though the battle is formally recorded as the Battle of the Favlith Field within Alepion, it is remembered by another name, Jayranda's Great Revenge. It was in the Favlith Field that Elder Jayranda would later secure one of his most decisive victories against the Sun Elves, and more importantly, bring about the death of highborn Asheral Evening, brother to Asheral and chief military commander of the third highborn host. The defeat at Favlith crippled the Sun Army. In later years, Asheral himself would confess that Sharal's force comprised more than a third of the Sun's total strength. Its destruction had marked a turning point in the war. Sun Elf chronicles describe the battle in somber tones, some offering a shudder at its mention. They came to us grief-stricken, yet unbroken. The Moon Elves were hungry for Sun Elf blood. Both warrior and elder sought vengeance for their fallen crowned son. They would not relent, despite Sharal's formations, his brilliance, and the unmatched strength of those under his command. In the end, the moon's fury overcame the sun's discipline. The high record speaks with equal gravity. Though victory belonged to the elder, it was achieved at devastating cost. Jayranda led a full-scale assault. For him, only death or victory could answer the loss of his son. The sun's arrows feathered the moon, yet no arrow would hinder them. Their will alone bore them forward until the foe was at last thrown down. Sharal was found on the battlefield by the elder, Asharal's beloved brother, and was delivered a gruesome blow to his head, killing him. According to Asheral's own account, his brother's broken head was later returned to him in a sack. With vengeance only partially claimed, the elder gathered his forces and marched north, intent on meeting Elwin to complete his revenge, this time at Serse Valley. In the wake of his victory at Favlith, Jayranda introduced a new rank among the Moon Elves, High Blade. The title was intended to denote a warrior of exceptional skill, greater than Crescent or Sentinel, and perhaps, though never openly declared, equal to or surpassing even a Blade Master. When presenting himself before his army, Jayranda proclaimed, "To be a High Blade of Alepion is to be its champion." This declaration stirred unease among historians, for since the age of the first Blade Master, the Blade Masters had been recognized as the true champions of Alepion, chosen not by decree, but by divine will. High Temple leader Emor Dornsno, writing after Elder Jayranda's death, would later state, "Blade Masters are chosen by divine whispers. All other titles are named by mortals, and thus are empty spells of vanity." Speculation arose that Jayranda, in creating the rank, sought to elevate himself beyond the sacred order of Blade Master. This belief was only strengthened when he crowned himself the first High Blade and petitioned the Great Council to formalize the title. He further requested that the Favlith Nar order forge a long blade worthy of the rank. The response never reached him. Before it could, the elder was dead. Yet the Favlith Nar did eventually answer. A blade was forged, its steel bearing a faint red glow, and presented not to Jayranda, but to his successor, Jalen Lovilla Skysinger, grandson of the elder, upon the youngster's coronation. By the suggestion of his uncle, Jadan Raven Skysinger, the blade was named Flame, and decreed that it be wielded only by one who bore the title of High Blade. The final clash between moon and sun came at the Serse Fields, a land renowned for its beauty. The Serse Mountains loomed high above its rolling plains, while Serse Lake shimmered beneath them. The valley's stones bore a golden gleam, often mistaken for true gold by those unfamiliar with its nature. It was here that Jayranda sought to end the war and avenge his son. Against the counsel of his advisors, he proposed single combat once more, this time between himself and Elwind. The two hosts met with the Serse Brook running between them as a storm gathered overhead. The waters ran dark between them, and the winds rose in anger beneath a brooding sky. To Jayranda's surprise, Elwind did not come alone. At his side stood Asheral Evening, father of the sun. Crescent Borean Lightbloom, who bore the banner of Alepion, would later recount. The father of the sun stood apart, was unmoving. His gaze never left the elder, and behind that cold, unyielding stare, I sensed the father's hatred. The highborn did not speak, nor answer insult. Of all I have seen, nothing has struck me as being more terrifying than that moment, watching Asheral Evening. Elwin accepted the challenge, with terms. The victor would claim Athena Island. Jayranda agreed. Yet before they parted to prepare, Elwin mocked the elder's newly forged title. High Blade! I have faced your greatest warriors, my elder. Athian the Mighty, you might recall. The one you called the Brave, I slew in single combat. I even faced the Destroyer, he who remains my only loss. Those were real warriors. You are nothing. Accounts describe the ensuing duel as long and hard fought, but in the end, Elwin prevailed. As he knelt to take up Jayranda's fallen blade, Voice, Athian the Favored, signaled for the Crescents to attack. Whether this had been prearranged or born of impulse remains unknown. What followed was a catastrophe. The Serse Valley erupted. The Moon Elves, leaderless and driven by grief, charged into Asheral's full force. The father himself led the vanguard. The result was devastating. The moon was destroyed. Jayranda's body was never returned. Instead, Asheral sent word to Alepion. Your elder will not be burned in his homeland, but cast into the sea to feed the rulers of the depths. Asheral would also keep Voice. When the elder's grandson Jalen later sought the return of Voice in exchange for the Alethioal blade, taken from the Sun Elves thousands of years ago, Asheral demanded both the blade and 50,000 golden suns. The offer was refused. If you have made it this far, don't forget to give this video a like and make sure you hit the subscribe button for more Alepian history. And don't forget to jump on my Sun, Moon, Sand and Star giveaway to get 5 free books. Simply head to the description below, click the link, get upon the sands, and in the comment section, demand your 5 free books, and I will send them to you as soon as possible. See you in the next one.